Good morning, students. How are you? I hope you are great. Today we are going to continue from where we stopped last week, and that is coordinate geometry, equation of parallelism, and perpendicularity. We are given assignments already, and most of you that attempted the assignments, you did well. However, I'm still going to do the correction for you. So example number 1 and 2 are the questions for the assignments. So it means that what we'll be doing now, we'll be doing the correction alongside with today's work. And another thing I'm going to add to it is the alternate way to solve problem on coordinate geometry, most especially when it includes 1 point and an equation. So before I move on to solving those examples, I want you to realize some things. So some of the things I want you to remember or to recall is that anytime you are given equation like this and then you are given 1 point, there's need for you to first bring out your slope or your gradient from this equation. So definitely bringing out slope from this equation, and then make with the point given, then there is already made formula for that. So if you can still recall the formula, so formula for a gradient, and 1 point is y minus y1 equals to m into bracket x minus x1. I hope you can still recall that formula. So this is the formula we are to use in solving an equation where you have a point and then where you have the slope. But for this, you don't have the slope, but you can actually bring out your slope from here. So that is that. Then another thing, so this is what we are going to be using for the first method, y minus y1 equals to m into bracket x minus x1. Then for the second method, we are going to be using equation of a straight line. So equation of a straight line, if you can still remember, equation of a straight line and equation of a straight line is y equals to mx plus c, where y is representing y1, m, that is m. Of course, you know that m itself is the slope or the gradients. X is x1 from the equation of a straight line, and lastly c is the y-intercept. So you should be able to interpret this. C is the y-intercept. So this is what we are going to be using for the second method. However, whether you are making use of the first method or the second method, you are still going to look for your slope first anytime you are solving a question that relates to this form of equation. So let's start. Example 1. So solution to example 1. So I will call it solution 1. Now you have a point already, 6,3, and then you have the equation. What is the equation? 4x minus 5y equals to 10. So your equation should be should be arranged in this form of equation of a straight line. Y equals to ms plus c. That means that you have to make y the subject of formula in order for you to obtain your slope, which is the coefficient of x. So how do we make y the subject of formula from this equation? Two ways. You can either take minus 5y to the other side, or you take 4x to the other side, then you divide both sides by minus 5. But for me, I'm taking minus 5y to the other side because I want to run away from negative side. By the time I take minus 5y into the other side, I will be having plus 5y. So that will now be 4x, then I will bring 10 inside, minus 10 equals to minus 5y will come outside, that is 5y. Then the next thing is I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So divide both sides by 5, which make it 4x minus 10 over 5 equals to y, which is the same thing as y equals to 4x minus 10 over 5. And I can write it separately by saying, because 5 belongs to the two values here, so 4x over 5 minus 10 over 5. So eventually we have y equals to 4 over 5x minus 2, because 10 divided 5 is 2. Now the coefficient of x now is the gradient. So this is the gradient here, 4 over 5. So our m is 4 over 5. Then go back to the question, perpendicular. So remember that when we talk of perpendicular, then we are going to be making use of a perpendicular slope. Of course, we have a slope which is 4 over 5, but remember that perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal of the main slope. Perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal of the main slope. What do I mean by this? Now, if our gradient is 4 over 5, which is what we have here, that is our gradient or slope. But because we are dealing with perpendicular or perpendicularity, then our slope here is going to have the reciprocal of a negative value. That is m. I use this prime to differentiate that perpendicularity. So the reciprocal of 4 over 5 is 5 over 4. Then with the negative, is a negative reciprocal, so with the negative, minus 5 over 4. And that was the reason why in some of the textbook you will see slope of perpendicularity as minus 1 over m, which is still the same thing as this. So if you remember this formula, you still get the same thing. Minus 1 over m is just like minus 1 over, what is the slope here? 4 over 5. So by the time you take minus 1 over 4 over 5, it seems that minus 1 divided by 4 over 5, which is the same thing as minus 1 times 5 over 4, because division will change to multiplication, and then it will be, you interchange it, and that will give us minus 5 over 4, which is still the same thing as what is given here. You just remember this anytime you are dealing with perpendicularity, that the slope of your perpendicular line we need to be taken as reciprocal with the addition of minus. So that is very important. So now that we have known our slope, what is the next thing? So this is the slope of a perpendicularity. Then we can now apply the equation of a point where we are given the slope. Of course, in this case we are not given the slope, but of course we have solved for the slope, so which is y minus y1 equals to m into bracket s minus s1. So from there we have y minus, what is our y1? Then we go back to this place, 6. Here will be our x1, and here will be our y1. So our y1 is 3. Remember, I'm applying this formula, y minus y1 equals to m into bracket s minus s1. So y minus 3 then equals to, what is the gradient now? The gradient is minus 5 over 4 into brackets x minus, and what is going to be our x1? Our x1 is 6. So from there I can just say that y minus 3, I can use y minus 3 equals to minus 5 over 4. I can use this number to multiply the one inside the bracket. So minus 5 over 4 times x minus 5 over 4x. Then minus 5 over 4 times minus 6. That will be plus 5 times 6 is 30 over 4. Yeah. So by so doing, so y, this y will be equals to minus 5 over 4x plus 30 over 4. Then we are going to move this minus 3 to the other side, so it becomes plus 3. So we have y equals to minus 5 over 4x plus of course I can make this 3 to be a fraction, so that we have y equals to minus 5 over 4x, then plus the SCL of 4 and 1 is 4. So 4 divided 4 is 1. 1 times 30 is 30. Plus 4 divided 1 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So therefore we have y equals to minus 5 over 4x plus 30 plus 12 is 42 over 4. Then we have y equals to minus 5 over 4x plus 42 divided 4. If it cannot go, you look for the highest common factor that can go in 42 and 4, and that is 2. So 2 in 42 is 21, and 2 in 4 is 2. So that will be our final answer. Remember that is the first method to use. First method to use. So we have going to the second method. Now to the second method, we still need to follow the same process in order for us to get the slope. So already we know our slope, so I don't need to waste time on that. So our slope is m equals to 4 over 5. That is the slope. But because of the question says they are perpendicular to the line, so that will now be m prime, which is the negative reciprocal of the main slope, which is minus 5 over 4. So remember, this is referring to perpendicularity. That is why we are using it that way, perpendicularity. Okay, so remember, and I told you that in the second method we are going to be using the equation of a straight line, which is y equals to ms plus c, and I have defined each value there. I've told you that y is y1, m is slope, s is x1, and c is y-intercept. So how do we now do that? So we introduce that concept. So y equals to mx plus c. So what is our y? Our y1. That is y is y1, which is 3. So equals to, then what is the gradient? The gradient this time around is the perpendicular one, which is minus 5 over 4. And what is x? X is x1. So our x1 is 6. Our x1 is 6. Then plus c. So this time around we are looking for the y-intercept. Remember I told you that c is y-intercept. So we are looking for the y-intercept. So we have 3 equals to minus 5 times 6 is minus 30 over 4 plus c. So collect like terms, that is 3 minus 30 over 4 will come to the other side, that is plus 30 over 4 equals to c. From there we can make both a fraction. So let's just assume that this 3 is 3 over 1. So the SCL of 1 and 4 is 4. So 4 divide 1, that is under 4 divided 1 is 4. 4 times 3, 12 plus 4 divided 4 is 1. 1 times 30, that is 30, equals to c. So 12 plus 30 is 42 over 4 equals to c. So we can reduce this number with the highest common factor, which is 2. So 2 in 42 is 21 over 2 in 4 is 2 equals to c. So we are able to get our y-intercepts. When we are done, we just replace both the slope and the y-intercept into the equation of a straight line, which is y equals to ms plus c, to get the required equation. So what is our y? why we have it that way, y. Then what is our m? Our m is the slope. So what is the slope here? Remember, perpendicular slope, that is minus 5 over 4x plus, what is our c? That is our y intercept. Our c is 21 over 2. 21 over 2, and that settles it all. So you can see that both the first method and the second method, we have the same answer. You can see it clearly on the screen. You see, so it's now left for you to choose your choice, to make your choice. So making your choice, then you can be able to use any method that actually suits you. So that is for number 1. Then number 2, find the equation of a line passing through the point 6,3 and parallel to the line 3x plus 2y equals to 5. So for number 2, so solution for number 2. So I'll be using first method. So solution for number 2. I'll be making use of the first method, and so we are given the points, same points like that number 1, 6,3, and then what is the equation? The equation this time around is 3x plus 2y equals to 5. So the equation is 3x plus 2y equals to 5. So we need to obtain our y here. So that means that this will be reformed in the concept of y equals to ms plus c. That means we are going to make y subject of formula from here. So since this one is not a negative value, that is where we have y is not a negative value, so I don't need to take it to the other side, because it's advisable you run away from negative if you have the chance to do that. So we have a 2y, so my 2y will still be there, equals to, then 3s, you can take it to the other side of 5, or you can bring it in front of 5, anyone. So this time I want to take it to the other side of 5. So we have a 5, then 3x we go to the other side, we have minus 3x. Then the next thing is I'm going to divide by 2. So therefore this will cancel this. So y equals to 5 minus 3x over 2. Then I can separate it. I can write it out separately. 5 over 2 minus 3 over 2x. So that means that the slope here, which is the coefficient of x, always remember that the slope is coefficient of x. So anyhow you are walking, you'll be able to identify your slope. So m equals to minus 3 over 2. But from the question states parallel to the line. So at this time around, the slope remained the same. Unlike the perpendicular, that you have to take the negative reciprocal. So the slope remained the same. So that means you can continue by applying your formula by saying the y minus y1 equals to m into bracket x minus x1. Then we have y minus, what is our y1? Our y1 is 3. That is the second value there, equals to, what is our slope? Minus 3 over 2, and x minus x1 is 6. So we have y minus 3 equals to minus 3 over 2 times x minus 3 over 2x minus 3 over 2 times minus 6. Minus times minus is plus. 3 times 6 is 18 over 2. So we have y minus 3 equals to minus 3 over 2x plus 18 over 2, that is 9. So y equals to minus 3 over 2x plus 9, then minus 3 will come here, plus 3. So we have y equals to minus 3 over 2x plus 9 plus 3 is what? Is 12. So that is the required equation. So from there we can now move on to second method, that is the alternate method. So So for this, alternatively, which is the second method, alternatively, so what is our slope from that part? Let's say our slope here is minus 3 over 2. You can see it here, minus 3 over 2. That is the slope. And then we also need the point given, that is the coordinates, that is 6,3. So let's state our equation of a straight line formula. So y equals to ms plus c. So I've defined it for you. So what is y? Based on the definition, well, I mean, based on the definition, yes. What is y? Y is y1. Where is our y1? Y1 is 3. So let me just put something there for you. X1, y1. So y1 is 3. So our y is y1, which this time around that is 3, equals to, what is our slope? Minus 3 over 2x. And what is our x rather? What is our x? X is s1, which is 6 plus c. This one will enable us to get our y-intercept. So when we are done, we just substitute both the slope and the y-intercept to give us the required equation. So we have 3 equals to, you can even cut it from here, 2 here 1, 2 in 6 is 3. So minus 3 times 3 will give us minus 9 plus c. So 3 will now be 3 minus 9 will come to the other side, plus 9 equals to what? Equals to c. So 3 plus 9 is 12 equals to c. So we have been able to obtain our y-intercepts. Okay, from there we can now substitute into the equation now. So y equals to ms plus c. So we are substituting two things there. We are substituting the slope and then the y-intercept. So we have y equals to, what is the slope? The slope is minus 3 over 2x plus, what is the y-intercept? The value of y-intercept is 12. So that is the required equation for that. So you can see from the first one we have y equals to minus 3 over 2x plus 12, and the same thing with the second one, y equals to minus 3x over 2 plus 12. Now we are going to the last example, example 3. So from the last example, so we see first method for example 3. So first method for example 3. So solution number 3. So what is the point? You just need to bring out the point. The point is minus 2, 0. And what is the equation? The equation is 4x minus 3y equals to 2. So let me make y the subject of formula so that I can quickly bring out my slope. So 4x, you can see this is negative value, so I want to run away from negative value, so let me take it to the other side so that it becomes plus. So 2 will come inside there, that is minus 2 equals to, the minus 3y will go outside, becomes plus 3y. Then I divide both sides by 3. This will have cancelled this, so definitely we have y equals to 4x over 3 minus 2 over 3. Now I will bring out my slope. Already I know that slope is the coefficient of x, so that is 4 over 3. From the question, is it referring to parallel or perpendicular? It is parallel. So if it is parallel, I will leave it like this. I don't need to change it. If it is perpendicular, I will need to take the negative reciprocal. What is the meaning of negative reciprocal? Turn this one upside down and put negative there. Turn it upside down and put negative. So if the question is referring to perpendicular to the line, then I will just say that this one will now be 3 over 4 with the inclusion of negative. I'll just put minus 3 over 4. But since it's parallel, then I don't have any problem. I can move on. So here we have the equation y minus y1 equals to m into bracket s minus x1. So we have y minus, what is our y1? Of course, these are x1 and these are y1. So our y1 is 0, you can see. And what is our slope? 4/3. 4/3. And then we have x minus, our x1 is -2. Please, minus, you know, it's negative. You can see that was the reason why I introduced this other question, so that we know that the minus that is coming from the number is different from the minus in the formula, so we have to carry the minus along, -2. So therefore we have y minus 0 equals to 4/3 into brackets x plus 2. So y minus 0 is y, so there is no need of carrying anything over. So y equals to, so let me open the bracket, 4/3 times x, 4/3x plus 4/3 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8/3, and then that settles it. And we are done. We are done with this. We are able to get our answer on time because of the 0 that is there. So there is no need of taking to the other side, finding LCMs and some stuff like that, just like the one in the example 2. So we are done with this. Now alternatively, that is the alternate method, that is the second method. Alternatively, so we have a slope. So I told you the other time that anytime you are working with either of the method, you are still going to find your slope. That is the first thing before you now move on with the number 10. So the slope here is 4/3. You can see 4/3 is the slope, 4/3, and the slope is parallel. It's a parallel slope, so there's no need to tamper with the slope. And the point, what is the point? The point is -2, 0, -2, so we have we make use of this y equals to ms plus c, so that it can enable us to get our y-intercepts. So what is our y? Our y is y1, which is 0, equals to, what is our m? Our m is the slope, which is 4/3. That is the slope. And what is our x? That is the second value, which is -2, then plus c. So 0 equals to 4 times -2 is -8/3 plus c. This -8/3, by the time you take it to the other side, becomes 0 plus 8/3 equals to c. So from there we have c equals to 0 plus 8/3 is 8/3. We can now bring the two together into this equation. So y equals to ms plus c will now be y equals to the slope there. So always carry the slope. Slope is 4/3x plus, what is the y-intercept? 8/3. You can see from both methods we still arrive at the same answer. So any one you are using at all, make sure you understand it very well, and then you do the necessary things. And so after you have gone through this, please endeavor to go to your classwork and do the necessary. But before going to classwork, let's discuss on discussion forum, and let's see if there is any area that is still not clear. So how do you get to discussion forum? Just click on the discussion, click on the LMS, and click on the classroom, then click on the discussion. So join the discussion forum, and let's see where you are having challenges or difficulties. But as a matter of fact, everything we are doing here, it shouldn't be something that is difficult, because I've tried to analyze it in such a way that you'll be able to get it. And before I stop, I want to show you something even before I stop. Yes, what did I want to show you? Now anytime we have something like this, I just want to show you. Anytime we have something like maybe -2, 0, and let's say we have the gradient already, which is m equals to 4/3. You can slot it in automatically. Y equals to ms plus c. You can slot in those values automatically. How do you do that? Now you know that already our y-intercept is 0, so you don't need to bring in any value there, and this is x1 based on what we've discussed. So here we have y equals to, then the gradient is 4/3, and then the slope is -2, and then you can move on with this plus c. So what I'm telling you is that this one, remember that it is 0, and it is our y1 here, it is 0. So from there you can just say, okay, 0 here equals to 4/3 minus 2 minus 8/3 plus c. Minus 8/3 will come here, it becomes 8/3 equals to c. The reason why I'm doing this is I want you to understand how we put in values, these two values, into this equation of a straight line. We have done that before. I'm still repeating it again so that you will know that your y is always y1, which is the second one that comes here, y1, while your x is always x1. Please take note of that. Yc is the y-intercept, and then m is the slope. The second method is actually meant for you to first of all obtain your slope and obtain your y-intercept, because those two things are the one you are going to bring back into the equation, while y and x remains the same. Y and x are just the direction in the plane, in the coordinate plane of our graph. Please take note of that. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.